Hi, my name's Jason. It's week 6, day 36 of my chronic pain rehabilitation journey. Today I'm going to talk about my third ketamine trip on a drug called Spravato. But before I get to that, a quick status update. Over the weekend, I think I experienced what I would call a minor shutdown. So I've described a scenario with my body where if I work out for extended periods of time, eventually it kind of goes into almost like a hibernation state and wants to sleep for a couple days. I was brushing with that. I could feel the same sort of energy just drop out from underneath me. It wasn't just fatigue, it was a little more than that. But it didn't come on all the way. So it was like a little bit of a nibble into a shutdown. So a little bit concerning, but I got up this morning and I felt a little bit better. And I went about my daily routine and did everything I was supposed to do. So, um, I realized yesterday that I was a little too focused on the external world, and it didn't make any sense for me to try to help a bunch of people I don't know if I'm not willing to help the people I do know. And so I've been helping some extended family members um, pursue some psychedelic options to treat their depression. And this was very rewarding. It's allowed me to reconnect with them on a very basic level and share parts of my life that I think can help them. And so I found that to be, again, just heartwarming and very connecting. I feel very connected to these family members, and I ever since I guess November of last year when I did ayahuasca, I've just been bringing online all of these relationships that were just kind of sitting dormant. And I'm so grateful for that I'm able to help them, and my experience is going to help at least someone. And why not start with people you know? I mean, it's possible nobody will ever view this channel, but if it helps my extended family, that to me is meaningful, and it means a lot. All right. Um, I did find one thing out in pursuing ketamine for my relatives. The cost of ketamine can vary widely between clinics. I thought it would be kind of similar, maybe about $200 a dose, but one of the clinics that one of my relatives called was $400 a dose, and depending on whether you're doing IV ketamine or nasal inhaled ketamine, which is Spravato, that's what I take, the cost can vary pretty dramatically. So when I said it costs a nice 4K television at Costco to go through a series, that may not be entirely true. It just depends on how long the series is, but it could be anywhere from $200 to $400 a dose. So sorry if I misled you there, but I didn't know myself. All right, I had a couple of bests today that are worth pointing out. One is I swam 20 consecutive freestyle laps for a total of 33 consecutive swimming minutes. There were a couple other strokes mixed in there, but basically that is the most consecutive freestyle laps I've ever swam. The best I had before that was 18, and the most consecutive minutes I've ever swam was 30. So I'm up on both counts, so yay. And also I increased my maximum weight and reps on the decline squat. So I can't do standing squat, so I do decline squat, which is kind of a laying down squat. And I did 12 reps at 270 pounds. The reason I think my weight is coming up so quickly on these is because, one, I'm becoming familiar with the exercises. I'm trusting that I can actually handle the weight, and I'm just basically working up to where I probably could have started if I'd been a little bit toned already. So we're basically just filling the gap from being very cautious at the beginning to what my body can actually do. And then once we hit that limit, then we'll be making real gains on top of that. I'm going to call these real gains still, but they're kind of filling the gap gains until we get to where my body actually gets really taxed. And I think we're almost there. I suspect I can probably squat about 300 pounds. And then once we hit that, it's going to take a little bit longer to move up into other territory. All right, moving on to tips. I have a couple. One is one of the therapists or technicians, I guess is what I should call him, that works at the physical therapy office I go to heat my spine with a hot laser. He was a swimmer in high school. And I realized as I was talking to him, I'm like, he could probably help me improve my form and just do my strokes better. And so I'm actually going to ask him the next time I go in on Wednesday, tomorrow. No, Wednesday, 2 days from now, to coach me on swimming. Like I'll give him a guest pass to my gym, maybe pay him some money if he wants it, and just help me improve my form so that I'm doing all the strokes correctly. And then That way, hopefully minimize energy and just improve my effectiveness at swimming. And then the point there is to ask for help. Like there are these people that have these skills all around me, and I didn't even think to like leverage them to help me in my journey. I can also explain to him why I'm doing it, and he's facilitating me making these videos in some way, and it's contributing to a good cause. But in the end, I might just pay the guy. I don't know. But anyway, ask for help. It's all around you, and you just if you don't see it, and if you don't even give them the opportunity to help you out, they're not going to. So just ask and see what happens. You could turn me down. I have no idea. Anyway, the next one is to be present. So I uninstalled all media like Prime Video and Netflix and CBS All Access from my phone. So I'm not tempted to watch shows. Again, I substitute YouTube inspirational videos, self-help videos instead. But to make it a little bit harder to get to them, I don't put those apps on my phone. But I still have my phone sitting next to me. And I was doing something. I was contemplating just browsing something random. And then I realized, wait, my daughter's sitting next to me. She's eating an apple. I've got carrots, and I'm kind of missing an experience here. Like we're watching a signing time video together. I don't really care for signing time, but I care about her. And so I put the phone down, and we started to exchange our food. It was really cute. She gave me a bite of apple. I gave her some carrots. And I had this experience with her, and I realized I almost missed it because I was playing around with my device. And so I'm going to go a little bit farther now. Anytime I'm in the common family area or, at dinner table, we put our phones away. But even if I'm just over in the entertainment area in the family room with the family, I'm not going to have my phone nearby because it's just a distraction, and you can miss out on these just simple little precious moments like I had with Eden today. It's just not worth it. Like I want to be present. I want to be in the moment. And my ketamine experience puts me in the moment. But when I got out of it, I'm like, why am I out of this moment? Why can't I be with Eden and just with Eden? So I'm going to spend time on her going forward and the rest of my family, and a little less with my device. Okay, on to the topic. So this is going to sound weird, but the takeaway from my ketamine trip this time was to vomit love. And I don't know why I use that language. I was writing a Facebook post while I was coming down from ketamine, and that's the language that I chose. But I just had this realization that the universe is this gargantuan, huge place full of mysteries, controlled by a gazillion different variables. You can think of them as like, controls, constants, things like that. There's just so many there's such an incredible number of interactions going on. Who can comprehend all of it? And I think the reason I was thinking about that is just because the experience I'm having on the ketamine was kind of grand, and just the scope was awe-inspiring. So somehow my mind took that and combined it with this concept of how to interact with the world. How do you interact in a world that you don't understand, right? Where you can't fully comprehend it? And the answer that my mind came up with was love. And rather than just give a little bit here and a little bit there and meter it out, spew it everywhere. Just love everywhere. Love everyone. I'm not naive. I know this means that sometimes you have to have difficult conversations with people. Acting in their best interest and loving them might be doing things that they might hate you for in the end, right? You might have to do some things that they hate you for. I'm not naive about what it means to love someone, but I want all of my actions and motivations to be grounded in love. So whenever I interact with any person, it's always on the basis of I am acting in their well-being. I am doing for them what I believe is in their best interest. And I want to eschew any other motive. And I know that means there can be, again, I'm not naive. I understand that there are going to be difficult interactions that have to be had when you act with love, but I want that to be my sole motivation. And I want to drop all other pretenses, all other facades. Is it possible? I think so, but I think it takes a lot of practice and effort, but that's something I want. That's something I'm going to aspire to. Yesterday I talked about, trying to love the world. You can't love other people and give away this vomitous love. I hate that word now. It sounds awful. You can't give forth an abundance of love. Let's put it that way. Just get rid of the vomiting metaphor. It sucks. You cannot give abundant love to the world if you don't love yourself. And I'll give an example of how I realized this yesterday from yesterday's video. So I was intimidated by a man named Hal Elrod. And the reason I was intimidated is because the guy shines brightly. I mean, his story is so amazing, so compelling, and he just shines so brightly that I almost want to turn my eyes away from it. But I realized that I shine too. And I actually believe there's a core of me that's light and goodness. And I think I've shown you a stone on occasion. I wish I had one handy to show you right now. That reminds me of that fact, because I learned that while I was on psychedelics, that there really is a good part of me that's worth keeping, that's decent, that's honorable, that's beautiful, that's worth loving. I saw that part of myself, and I've seen it a couple more times. But when I remembered that I shine too, I didn't feel as intimidated by him anymore. I realized what I want to do is increase my light. I don't want to diminish his light. I want to bring my light up. And so I want to go through this step of, you have to see the light in yourself before you can give it and increase your light and show more love to other people. And you can resist that temptation to sort of turn away from the people that shine too brightly and almost want to find fault with them or diminish them in some way, and actually just add your light to theirs. How does this happen? So the first time I saw clearly the light inside of me was when I went down to Cedar City around Thanksgiving. It was a religious ceremony I'd never participated in before. It was very intimidating to go. And there were 2 nights I took ayahuasca. The first night was more of a therapeutic night where I felt like I was getting at a bunch of repressed emotions. I was having some internal dialogues that helped me sort out some things. It was very therapeutic, and it was difficult but manageable. The second night, I took too much, and I had what might be called a bad trip. It was essentially like a scene out of The Exorcist. I was not in control of my body. I was convulsing. I was thrashing. It was awful. And in the throes of that difficult experience, I found myself saying some very, very horrible things. I'm not going to repeat them. They were bad. I didn't even know I could say things like that, the things I said that came out of I was desperate, basically. I wanted someone to intervene and stop what was happening to me. And when it didn't, I felt incensed and angered. And I think I was trying to get the attention of the facilitators so that they would do something. And I pulled out all the stops. There was nothing I wouldn't have said to make that stop. After I went through that process, I call this like there's a book of Lamentations in the Bible. I lamented so very strongly everything I had said while I was under the influence of that overdose of ayahuasca, basically. And I use the word overdose here loosely. I wasn't going to die. It was just very, 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 very unpleasant. In fact, I would call it probably the most traumatic experience I've ever had. I've never felt worse. I've never been more scared. I thought I was going to die. I didn't. I thought I was going to die. And what I said, again, was so bad that I just lamented it for so long and so deeply that I saw something. The lamentations that I felt showed me a part of myself that was good. I didn't want to be the guy who railed and said vile things. I wanted to be something else better. And I lamented that I had potentially tarnished the experience for the other attendees. I cared about them. I cared about their experience. I cared about not being that guy. And that for me was sort of the first glimpse I had of beautiful Jason. I would have said this before that ayahuasca experience. There is a beautiful Jason. I saw a part of him. And now I just want to foster that, right? I want to make that light shine brighter and brighter and brighter. And I think other people can have this experience without going on ayahuasca. And I'm going to give you another example. So going back to Hal, the reason I was kind of frustrated or bothered by how much he shone is because I didn't believe I could shine that bright. And the deepest desire of my heart is to help people like he's helping people. And I didn't think I could do it. I don't think I can reach that kind of audience. And I felt like it was impossible for me to be him. And so the reason I was lamenting again was I didn't think I had the capacity to help as many people as he could help. Voila. What is that? That's beautiful Jason again, right? Now, turning that back on myself and feeling sort of self-loathing or self-critical, that's not a good thing. But the part that wants to reach people, the part that wants to help on the scale that he's helping, that's actually a good guy. That's a good trait. It's a good attribute. It's something I want to encourage and develop. So I guess what I would advise you to do is look for incidents in your life where you might be acting in a way that you think is kind of subpar. You're either petty or doing something that you are embarrassed about, and look at some of the underlying motivations about why you're doing that. And I've often found in those scenarios, I can find something beautiful, like a gold nugget or a diamond, something that shines in my soul. And if I can just get rid of the extra stuff, the stuff like the self-loathing, turning it back on myself, that light will shine brighter and it won't be impeded in any way. So that's the main takeaway from the ayahuasca experience was if you can find that light inside of yourself and let it shine, you won't be intimidated by others' light, and you will shine brighter and add to their light, make the world a more luminous, beautiful place. And that's how you give out abundant love. But you have to first see the light inside of yourself, discern the light inside of yourself in a way that's credible, that you know it's really there. You're not making it up. It's not fictitious. And oddly enough, ironically enough, you can discern this sometimes when you're acting poorly. And that's happened for me multiple times now. Like sometimes when I'm at my worst, I see the best part of myself motivating some of these less than desirable actions and attitudes. All right. The slogan of my show again is or not show, it's not a show. Slogan of my channel is to fight for your life. And fighting for your life means learning how to love yourself so that you can love everyone else. You can't love other people when you're a beggar, when you need validation from them. If you don't believe that there's something good at the core of your soul, you're always going to need other people to validate you. And going back to that story about the ayahuasca experience, there was one point where I told the facilitator, I said this out loud in front of the entire group, I want you to like me because I don't like myself. I needed something from them. I needed validation of my person. I don't need that anymore because I already know who I am at my core. I know what the best parts of me are. And so because of that, I'm able to shine. I don't know if I'm shining now, but I feel like I'm shining now. And I want you to be able to shine too. Find the good part of yourself, and then you'll be able to let that love that you have for yourself flow outward. What keeps you from loving yourself? Have you ever discerned in your behavior something that is actually beautiful? Something good at your core? If you have, please share in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe.